Democracy is said to be a government by the people, for the people. Greetings of the day, my dear students. And let us continue with Toba Singh, the last portion of the short story where the actual transfer of the lunatics take place. As I told you earlier, democracy is a government for the people and by the people. But actually, most of the diplomatic relations and the decisions in the diplomatic level, when taken, the common man who votes and selects his representatives has no role in it at all. And most of the time, it is not taken according to his will or wish. To put it in another way, most of the times such decisions are taken without the consent of the common man or ignoring the dislike of the common man. Same thing happened in the case of these lunatics and their relatives. Nobody asked them their consent or their opinion about transferring these people, Sikh people, the Indians or the Hindustanis, the Sikhs to Hindustan and the Muslims to Pakistan. But when the repercussions are considered, the repercussions of all these diplomatic level decisions, when those are concerned, it is the common man who is left to suffer. In Toba Singh, Saadat Hasan Manto invites our attention to the actual scene of transfer of the Sikh people. On a very cold day, these people were loaded in lorries and they were brought to the Wagah border. There, the guards were busy sending the Hindustanis, the Sikhs, to the Indian side and accepting the Pakistanis to their side. And when we look at the people who were waiting for their turn to be transferred, some of them were cursing, some of them were singing. There were yet another lot. They were there, some shouting Pakistan Zindabad, while the others shouted Pakistan Murdabad. This infuriated both the Muslims and the Sikhs, and guards had a very tough time in avoiding conflicts over there. Even women were there among them, and it was like a pure bedlam. That is the word used by the author to describe the situation. Confusion was rampant, says Saadat Hasan Manto. When his turn came, Bishan Singh repeated his question to the guards, "Where is Toba Singh?" And some of the guards, who were quite ignorant of the background of Bishan Singh, replied, "It is in Pakistan." The moment he heard about it, he leapt back to the truck where the others were waiting for their turn to be transferred. and the guards had to threaten him that they would force him to come to the Indian side. But when he climbed down the truck, Bishan Singh stood there on a place in between the lines of control of both the countries, as if no force in the world could be able to move him. And he continued standing over there. And the guards, finding him to be quite harmless a man, permitted him to remain there, and they continued their busy work. Before the sun rose the next day, mind you, till then this poor man was standing there. Before the sun rose the next day, a piercing cry came out from Bishan Singh. The guards and the other officials ran towards him, and there lay Bishan Singh, the man who had been standing for the past 15 years, lay before them prostrate. The man was dead. He was lying there on a piece of land between India and Pakistan. Beyond the fence, on one side it was Pakistan, and on the other side it was Hindustan. My dear students, Rigveda says, Ekam Sad Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, which means there is only one who is the ultimate truth. Ekam Sad, the virtuous. There is only one. We the mortals are calling him by different names. And again in Shiva Mahimna Stotra, in a sloga it is said, like rivers through different paths flowing and finally reaching the ocean, people through different ways try to reach God, and finally, like the rivers come and join the ocean, we people also through different religious paths travel and one fine day become one with God. If it is so, what is the point in dividing human beings in the name of religion? Aren't the people who are dividing man from man on the basis of such pointless, meaningless differences, aren't they really mad? Throwing such a question to pierce through the conscience of every human being, there lies Bishan Singh on no man's land. Even death there, the great leveler, teaches us this. There is no point in dividing man from man, separating human beings from human beings. No point in establishing these kind of differences And Death, the Great Leveler, gives us a wonderful message, showing the picture of a man lying there in no man's land. Let this question, isn't it meaningless to encourage this communal madness, leaving this question for us to ponder over. The lesson concludes here. Thank you for your patient listening.